Hello, beautiful, beloved twin flames. I'm just recording this while I'm out walking in the early morning. So instead of the sounds of the car, this time you're going to get the sounds of me huffing and puffing a little bit up the hill, and maybe some nice, fresh early morning bird noises. So this video is going to be a little bit about the emotional layer and how important that is to really work with when we're twin flames, especially, and also of course for all humans and everybody on this planet, but specifically for twin flames because of the important mission that we have to bring in divine love. So how can we hold more love in our being if we have blockages? So I'm going to use a analogy because I'll often find that it really helps when I'm trying to understand things that are a little bit confusing to us, that I use analogies, or sometimes I get shown things in my world that explain things to me through signs and synchronicities. So I knew that I was definitely meant to do this video this morning because I woke up and it's kind of springtime here, so the warmth is coming off the land, but it's also still pretty cold, and there was this thick layer of fog. Or mist, I suppose. It's kind of more mist when I got up, and I'm walking up in an orchard area, excuse me, and there's this really interesting layer of mist, and so that was the sign that confirmed to me that I needed to do this because what happens, I need to explain about the emotional layer, because what really is happening is that I don't want to get too scientific, but the emotions do create sort of like a layer around us that does create kind of like a fog or a mist. It means that we can't really see things clearly, and that can be explained scientifically as well through, most of humans for the last few thousand years, maybe a couple of thousand years, we've been operating on a survival mode, which is fight, flight, freeze, because things have happened to us that have caused us to be in a lot of danger, under a lot of threat. I use the example of, you're walking along and suddenly you think you've seen a snake, and your body automatically your automatic central nervous system goes into a response, and your whole body is geared up for danger to respond in a way that's going to help you get out of a dangerous situation. So everything fires up in your body, and then it sends a signal to your brain. So from a neuroscience point of view, there'll be a quick, short neural pathway that goes straight from your limbic system, which is your emotional centre, that says, get out of there, you've got to go, or you've got to fight, or you've got to freeze, whatever it is that you need to do in that situation to get you away from that snake that you're seeing, right? So that's all designed perfectly, and so that neural pathway is quite a short neural pathway, and it comes straight from the emotional centre of your brain. So then until you are able to be calm again and calm yourself down and breathe and see the situation clearly, that allows a second neural pathway to go, which takes a little bit longer, from your emotional centre to the cerebral frontal cortex, which tells you that everything's fine now. It enables you to think logically, and you can go, oh, that snake was actually just a stick, and I'm not under threat, and everything's fine. So sorry, excuse me, now I'm puffing. From a scientific point of view, that's what's happening in our bodies, and for a lot of us, we still feel under threat in many ways from so many different kinds of situations in our lives. In particular, so our body will react in the same way to a situation like, let's just say, we've experienced some kind of trauma or shock as a child. Specifically for the twin flame scenario, I'm going to use the example of a child that is either abandoned or abused or neglected by a parent. At that time, we as children had no facilities within ourselves to enable us to protect ourselves from that situation. We were powerless. We didn't have the ability to protect ourselves. So what happens is, as a small child, we'll go into the same response, which is a traumatic shock type response, a fear response, and we'll hold that memory or that in our cells. Or we will separate out. A part of our soul will go into shock and separate out and either run away, which it'll flight, or it'll become a fighter, and that's how we get people in our world that operating from a traumatic shock response who react in ways that are very defensive to avoid any further pain. So you can see why our bodies have been designed a certain way. They're just doing what they're meant to do. However, the way that's going now is no longer really serving us very well. That automatic response to certain situations that cause us shock or trauma haven't caused us to behave in certain ways that are no longer really serving us or not healthy. But you can see how they got there, right, in the first place. So the first thing we've got to do is not judge ourselves or not feel shame or embarrassed because we are having an automatic nervous system shock response to something. We've got to hold ourselves really safely to deal with that situation. So what happens in our whole body system, and where this energy is carried is, there's a relationship between the mind and the body and the soul. We're all one being, we're a whole being. So we have now what's happened to our body system and our whole functioning is that we've got gaps, we've got leakages, we've got blockages, we've got a few things going on in our body system where it's not functioning entirely to its full potential because of the shock and traumatic situations that have occurred for so long, and that's put us into a state of operating from a state of fear. So when we're operating from a state of that fear place, what happens to the body is that our emotions sort of become the main way in which we operate. So a lot of people are operating, and from a neuroscience point of view, operating from the limbic system, which is the emotional centre of the body, the amygdala, and that kind of takes over. It becomes the main operating system because that neural pathway is going straight to the brain to say, you're in danger, this is how you have to behave in order to stay safe. Okay? So part of reveling that and becoming more able to think more logically and clearly, to enable a longer, stronger neural pathway to form that allows us to be more coming from a real, centered place. Because again, that's linked back up to our central nervous system. So when we, you can come at it from whatever way you want to come at it, whether it's firstly making your body calm and calming yourself down and becoming relaxed and breathing. That's why mindfulness and meditation is really important, because that's telling your body, I'm safe. So when your body's safe, now you can do some of the other extra work that goes with it, which is, let's look at some of this stuff. And it's funny because I got shown an image of like a blocked drain. So let's just say that the energy, it's like we've got blocked drains as well. So sometimes what's happened when we've gone into trauma is we've got a shock somewhere. So that's like a freeze situation. So part of us has gone into a freeze, so it can't move past that certain way of operating. So let's just say there's a blockage somewhere in our field, whether it's in our actual body. It sometimes starts off in the emotional field, which sits outside of our body. And what we know about illness from a quantum physics healing point of view is that once we've got a imbalance or a dis-ease in the emotional field and the energetic field that surrounds us, because emotion is energy in motion, right? So if there's a blockage there or a imbalance or whatever, it will eventually make its way into the physical body and show up in the physical. So that's how we can explain a lot of physical body illness or disease, is because we've got these situations where we've got blockages or leakages. And so for some of you that have more of a scientific way of experiencing life, this will help you see that, if you've got a blockage, you go to a plumber, you've got like a blocked drain, you get it sorted, you get it cleared out, you pour some drainage fluid down, or you get a plunger and you get that stuff out. So we've got to see ourselves kind of in the same way. We've got to see, like, I don't want to say that we're imperfect, but part of this, because we're not, we're perfect, we are great, because this is all part of a process, and it's just acknowledging that this is part of the process and that it's important. And so we have to take responsibility to do this work, to unblock our blockages, to plug up our gaps. If we've got a leaky tap, if we've got a leaky something, drain or whatever, we're gonna plug that up, because that's where we've got a flight situation of our automatic response, which is when the soul flies, it fragments and it goes out and it leaves a gap. So that's where often we'll get the need for finding things outside of ourselves to fill the gap, which is addictions, neediness, desperation. So how do we get that back? How do we fill up that gap? A lot of that work is soul retrieval, because the soul fragments, so we're asking that part of our soul to come back because it's safe now. So a lot of this work that some of us are doing and at different stages of, I know many of you have done a lot of this work and you really get it and understand it, but some people can get a little bit stuck in this because we don't realise, because we can't necessarily see some of this stuff. It's either internal or it's in our electromagnetic or morphogenic field. Some of it's hidden because a lot of this stuff is what we've started to term the shadow, the subconscious. We can't see these things because we've got so used to operating on a certain automatic response that we just think that that's normal, and we can't even see that we're doing something that's hiding or protecting a part of us that's still not safe. So recognise this as being important. This is really great work. It's kind of exciting. Don't see it as horrible. Obviously, we're used to the human other part of our existence is that we try and avoid pain at all costs. Fair enough. Who wants to go there? But beyond that pain of that initial shock and trauma that happened to us is healing and wholeness. And for this particular twin flame mission, we need to bring in more love and light into our bodies. And as I'm saying that, I can just feel that energy that's out there. It's like free energy from the universe that wants to come through us, that wants to experience itself through our beautiful vessels, but it can't come in if A, it's leaking out, B, it's blocked, C, we've got the walls up to defend, can't come in. So get the work done, go see a counsellor, go see a healer, go on the internet and find these wonderful twin flame healers that are out there that can do this amazing work. There's these beautiful vibration alignment tools, Cassidy Kane, we've got Patricia McNeely, we've got so many, sorry I can't name you all, but beautiful, amazing twin flame healers. Oh, Jill and Remy, go online, look around, see. Amazing. I also do some of this work as well, so if anyone would like to book a session with me, I can also do some of this work. Some of this stuff involves, past life regressions. There's clearing and healing to be done. And for those of us, some of you, us, I'll say, that are on a slightly different stage of the journey, which is great because, once we start doing more of this work, and a lot have been doing this work for a really long time, I'll put myself in that because I've been dedicated to this as almost a lifetime of work. It's taken a long time for me, but some people can do this fast, so it's great. Good on you. And we get to a point where we're no longer emotionally triggered by things because we've either closed the gap or we've made ourselves safe or we've broken down a wall, so we're enabling more love and light to come into our body. So we're holding a more regulated emotional field, and so we no longer get those spikes where we're up and down and so we there is a stage where you start to feel a little bit numb because the human experience is so used to experience emotion, and with that comes all the drama and it's the illusion, it's the fear, because like I said at the beginning, we thought the stick was the snake. That's the illusion, that's the fog that enables us not to see things really clearly as they have been and are. So locked in that sort of fear response is not enabling us to let more love in. So anyway, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, sorry, I was talking about the numbness. So yeah, what can happen is for some that have kind of done a lot of this work and are feeling a little more whole, there is a sort of a period of time where you have to pinch yourself a little bit because you're wondering whether you're still alive, because you're no longer feeling these strong emotions, and sort of it feels a little bit like there's a void. So, we will get the little tests from our soul to just check in. Are we still going to go into those old fear responses when these same old pattern situations come up? We will be tested on this. And as we move further on the journey, we'll also be a little bit tested by some of the other, and again, I don't like talking about this, but it is a thing that we need to acknowledge. There are other sort of entities and parasites and other energy forms out on the planet that don't, want us to succeed, or will try and sort of come into any perceived weakness areas that we have. And I know for me personally, even just the other night, I had a situation where my weakness point, and it seems to be where things happen for me, is that I'm a very empathetic person, and I really feel people's pain, and I have a weakness to want to rescue and support and help people. So I'll sort of give myself away a little bit there, and that opens up a gap. So I've still got some work to do on those. That's for me something where I need to do some work. And so I experienced a person who had leaned on me for some emotional support, sort of coming in my dream time and trying to become quite needy to my energy, and sort of becoming a little bit almost vampirish. And I had to do some work, energetic work, to release that person from my energy field, so that wasn't happening. And so yeah, it's ongoing. We are energetic beings. We're mastering our self-mastery through understanding the emotions more, the energy layer, the emotional layer, and how our heart and our soul and our love, consciousness and light all interacts with that, and how we alchemize and integrate and master and harmonize all of this, really, so that we can become, a pure vessel of divine love and light to bring in and continue with this amazing mission. So yeah, hope that's helped you today, and good luck with all the eclipse energies and dealing with, just daily life and being a human on the planet. I wish you all well, and I'm sending you lots and lots of beautiful divine love and light. Blessings. Thank you.